Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of JRPG Journal. And today I wanted to take a look at a different kind of RPG, a different kind of JRPG that maybe some wouldn't consider it, but I think I'm going to. I'm going to say it counts. And today I want to talk about Harvest Moon: Back to Nature for the PlayStation 1. Now, this series started, I believe, on the Super Nintendo, but this was my first entry to the series, and it was kind of an accident. This is actually one of my favorite stories about finding out about a game. I remember I was visiting some family friends in North Carolina, and we were just hanging out, and I can remember looking through a magazine. I remember I saw an ad for this game. I remember I saw an ad for Harvest Moon: Back to Nature, and it looked really kind of different. Like, this is after a few Final Fantasy games. I don't think I got this game at launch, but it was within a couple years of when the game came out. But then, I just remember seeing it in a magazine, and me and my friend were like, wow, this game looks really neat. Like, you can walk around town and there's like farming and stuff. Like, we had never really seen a game like that, so we were kind of intrigued by what it was. And then I can remember like the day after, or like a few days after, we all went shopping. We went to like the local big mall, and I can remember seeing it at the store. And as you've probably known from other videos, I was kind of spoiled as a kid, so my mom got it for me, and I remember I took it home, and me and my friend, we just played that game all night. It was so cool because, again, this is days before the internet, and we didn't have a strategy guide, so we had no idea whose birthday was on what the best strategy was for laying out your land, how to upgrade your tools and all that stuff. So it was just a giant mystery, and it was really fun to play the game and go through it and figure out secrets and talk to all the different townsfolk and stuff. And I remember we played all day and all night, and I believe I fell asleep right before the first fireworks festival. So that must have been, we must have played through a season and a half or something, because that happens in the summer if I remember right. And my friend was telling me about it. It's like, yeah, you have to like ask a girl and you like watch the fireworks with this girl. And I was like, whoa, this is really interesting. Like, in other Final Fantasy games and these RPGs, like, there are characters and you got to know them. But this was a game where like you influence characters. You like, I don't want to say form relationships, but in a way you kind of do. Like, you talk to them, you give them gifts, and they interact with you in different ways. And there were like, side events that would pop up that were cool. Like, once your heart level went up enough, there would be like side events that would, kind of get you, help you get to know the different characters better. And I thought that was pretty neat. And I remember I was kind of the ambassador for this series when I brought it back home to all my other friends, because nobody had ever heard of Harvest Moon. Nobody knew what Harvest Moon even was. And I can remember bringing it over to a couple friends' houses, and we all just played the crap out of it. And other friends bought it, and we bought the next couple iterations on PS2 and GameCube and whatnot. I'll get to those at some point, I'm sure. But this is one of my formative, RPGs games growing up, because I think why I love Persona so much is because of the sim elements that were from Harvest Moon that I'd never seen before. And it was like, for Persona, it was like a combination of like all the cool stuff from Harvest Moon and then like a typical RPG, and you just smash it together. But to get back to Harvest Moon: Back to Nature, man, I can just remember long weekends where I would, go to these different events in the game. There's so many fun events that you can do in like the town square, like the tomato fight, or the swimming event. I remember the swimming event. I still, to this day, I've gone through that game probably 2 or 3 times, and I just can't figure that out. Like, you have to balance the swimming with breathing, and I remember I would always drown halfway. I would never make it. And then the only bummer thing about this game was that, like, once you get to near the end, like probably year 3, so the game is 3 years, and you have to, have a prosperous farm by the end of year 3. And at that point, I kind of already had one. And I had a wife and a kid and all the different animals, and at some point it got tedious. It's like there's nothing left to do except win the events. So sometimes I would just skip through days because it didn't matter. But yeah, I mean, I can remember trying to find out these mysteries. Like, I went to the top of the hill. There's like this mountain in the game, and If you go to the top of this mountain, there's like a tree that kind of sticks out. And I remember I had my axe for some reason and I tried to chop it. And then this tree started it talks to you and it's like, oh, please don't chop me down. Don't chop me down and I'll help you out. And so if you don't chop it down, it gives you, for anybody that's played the game, those power berries. And the more power berries you eat, the more stamina you have, the more chores you can do without having to like eat food or rest or whatever. So that was kind of a weird accident I remember I ran into. And I can't remember if it's the frozen lake cave or if it's the normal cave behind the waterfall, but there's a cave that if you keep digging, there's like a secret fishing spot. And I can remember thinking, man, this game is just chock full of cool mysteries and secrets. And I can remember fishing there. I don't remember ever getting anything particularly cool or like mind-blowing, but I'm like, wow, that's just interesting that you can dig that far and there's like something at the bottom. And I think the other one sort of mystery or like moment in the game that's not very well laid out is you can at the top of where the hot spring is, you can donate or not donate, you can sort of throw your harvest into the lake where the waterfall flows into. And if you do it enough times, there's like a harvest goddess that appears and she'll like say nice things to you and I believe give you a power berry. And I don't think it's in this game. I think it's in another Harvest Moon, but there's one Harvest Moon where if you do that enough, you can like marry her or whatever. And yeah, it was just crazy. Like it just felt like a very sentimental, cool, like small town vibe. Like we get to know all these people and there's all these mysteries around town. And even if you go back in the corner where the elves are, they can help you like water your plants and do stuff on your farm. And yeah, like, it was just, oh man, I could go on forever on Harvest Moon. This has been a fun episode to talk about. I haven't played it in a while, but and that music, every time I listen to the music, it just brings me right back. It's like, puts you in a cheery mood, and you can't help but smile. You just can't help but smile. And I can remember, I think the first girl I ever like wooed in the game was, I think her name is Potpourri, the girl with the pink hair. And what's funny about her is you can literally give her weeds and she likes it. So you could just keep giving her weeds and she'll smile and eat it up. And I mean, not literally, but like metaphorically eat it up and she'll love it. And I just thought that was really funny because there's other girls that are super picky. Like there's this, I think her name's Karen. She has a little blonde streak and she's like the town drunk. Like you have to give her wine and French fries and all this expensive stuff to get her to like you. And I think there was also a girl version. I think it was just called Harvest Moon for Girls or something like that. But it's quite literally the same town, mineral town. But there's you can play as a girl and you can, meet the guys and whatnot. And I believe there is a port to the Game Boy Advance or something called Friends of Mineral Town. It's pretty much the same game, just with graphics that aren't quite as good. So. Anyways, guys, I'm going to cut myself off there because if I don't, I'll be here all day talking about Harvest Moon. This is one of my all-time favorite games. It had a huge impact later down the line on what games I would get into, and it's just super fun. If you have not played a Harvest Moon game, or if you have not played this one specifically, I highly recommend you go pick it up. It's on the PlayStation Network. You can probably get it for pretty cheap. It's playable on Vita. It's playable on PSP. And on PS3 as well. Not on PS4 yet. They still don't have those PS1 classics. So anyways, guys, if you've played Harvest Moon Back to Nature or any of the Harvest Moon games, definitely let me know what you thought of them. And I'd love to hear your stories and your adventures in Mineral Town. So anyways, guys, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.